Welcome, and thank you for taking a closer look at this work experience of mine. My name is Scott Rosas, and I will be sharing what I did at this job. Here is the physical location, 3411 West Ball Road, Anaheim, California. The picture in the background is the actual physical building of the facility, and this will be seen throughout the entire PowerPoint. First, a brief history. Back in 2006, while I was going to culinary school at Cypress College, I was hired as a part-time cook at this facility. While working there, I gained insight on how this facility operated and became familiar with the staff, management, and the residents that resided there. As I graduated from culinary school at the end of 2007, a job opening as a kitchen manager became available within the company. So, at the beginning of 2008, I was promoted as the kitchen manager, which was officially titled the dietary supervisor. As a manager, I gained a wealth of knowledge and experience of how to run a food service operation specifically for a retirement home setting. From January 2008 to December 2011, I'd like to share what I did along with the staff and management team in greater detail. Let's talk about menu creations. Weekly menus were created on a weekly basis, which were eventually compiled to create year-long cycle menus. Here's an example of one weekly menu. As more and more meals were created and photographed, a database of all the various meals was formed. Here are all the beef entrees. Here are all the chicken entrees, all the pork entrees, seafood entrees, and finally vegetarian entrees, as well as other miscellaneous ones. It was 4 years in the making, but the extra work on my part paid off. A few year-long cycle menus were created from this database along the way. And yes, all these meals were photographed by me personally. The lobby area next to the windows of the facility created some of the best lighting. Special one-day event meals were also made for holidays, birthdays, and other special occasions. Here are some samples along with the food made for those events. Here we have a Hawaiian luau lunch in the summer of 2008, Mother's Day brunch in the spring of 2008, Valentine's Day dinner of 2009, a Thanksgiving buffet of 2008, and finally Christmas dinner of 2011. Not all foods included a menu, but were made to suit the occasion. Here are a few examples. We have the 4th of July patriotic layered gelatin dessert. And here are some various birthday cakes made by us. In regards to the employee management side of this job, I was mainly in charge of scheduling the staff, educating the staff, and handling disputes that arise between the staff. Here's an example of arranging the kitchen staff schedule on a weekly basis. Here is a month schedule example. As a manager, I was responsible for educating the staff members on how to do things properly periodically in the form of in-services. This was conducted once every 3 months or so. Here are a few examples. First off, we have proper dining room table setups, proper room service tray setups, proper cleanup of the beverage area, proper and improper uses of knives, specific cleaning and maintenance of the juice machine, and finally proper cleaning of the coffee machine. Here's the form I gave out to employees to sign when the in-service sessions were completed. This was given to provide evidence that the in-service was conducted and the employees acknowledged that they did receive proper training. In regards to handling disputes and disciplining the staff, I don't have media material to share since most of the documents were confidential. I can say though that documentation of incidents was key. This provided evidence that the incident did occur and gave me, as well as management above me, grounds to discipline more effectively. On a low note, I was involved with firing some personnel, which wasn't pleasant at all. However, this was best for the company and the rest of the kitchen staff that had to pick up the slack due to these particular employees. In regards to handling the business and physical inventory of this job, I had to maintain a budget, and I had to organize and maintain our food and kitchen supply inventory. In terms of maintaining the budget, each resident who was at our facility was accounted for. For each resident, I was allowed to spend about $4 a day on food and beverages. Here's an example of a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet I used. The more residents we had for the month, the larger the total budget. As we purchased things, I would minus the invoice totals against the total calculated budget. In regards to the physical food/kitchen supply inventory, I was in charge of keeping our frozen, refrigerated, and dry storage supply organized, and I also had to account for what items we had and didn't have. The kitchen staff would assist me with this. Particularly, they would let me know when we were running low on something. Here's a list of much of the things we had on stock. Here's our refrigerated items containing our fresh produce, our dairy items, and anything else that was perishable. Here's our frozen items. Here's our dry storage items. More dry storage items, also containing our disposable items such as trash can liners, napkins, gloves, etc. More dry storage items. And finally, our beverage items. In regards to the residents, special diet accommodations were provided to better suit their needs. Since the majority of the residents were elderly, some residents had difficulty chewing, and about a dozen of them had diabetic conditions. Many of the menu items we provided were soft and tender. Rarely did we serve items that were difficult to chew. For those who needed a puree diet, we blended meals upon the residents or the caregiver provider of the resident's request. In regards to the diabetic residents, we provided sugar-free and reduced sugar alternatives. A prime example of this was the desserts we provided, which were often designed to be more suitable for diabetic individuals. American Quality Foods provided the majority of our diabetic-friendly desserts and beverages in the form of dried instant mixes. To finish up and summarize, I was responsible for developing the weekly menus, which eventually led to cycle menus and a database of menu ideas, developing special events menus along with the special foods involved within the events, organizing kitchen staff member schedules, educating the staff with the use of in-services, disciplining the staff, staying within the company's budget, organizing the kitchen inventory, and finally providing accommodations for residents with special needs. In brief, this job was a wonderful experience for me and provided a solid stepping stone to further my career. Before we wrap up, as a side note, this place is no longer called Anaheim Village, but is now called Meridian Gardens of Anaheim. As soon as I left by the end of 2011, the company was bought out, and new management currently runs the facility. This is what the physical location looks like now as of 2016. Thank you for watching, and you have a nice day. Bye-bye now.